at 10:01 a.m. on the 11th of March. Happy day to you all, and happy March, and happy almost spring. I'm presuming everybody, the good news is that everybody who's here definitely changed their clocks. So that's one sign of readiness and alertness that we can all be ready for here. Okay, so today the program very much emphasizes program updates that Wendy is going to share, as well as detailed information that Katie is going to share, our own Katie. And this is very significant in that there's a tremendous amount of resources that Timberland Regional Library has, and all it needs from us is a library card. So this is the not just books but digital material. And in fact, just the past couple of months, TRL celebrated having more digital downloads than physical downloads and checkouts. So they've actually crossed this threshold in which the digital world of the library is now even more significant than the physical world. We'll hear more about that from Katie as we go forward. Okay. So a couple reminders of dates. A board meeting will be held today. So we have a board meeting today at 1 p.m. The same URL, the same Zoom URL as this meeting is the same URL Zoom will use for the board meeting. It's at 1 p.m. today. Everyone's welcome, not just board members. Study group is next Monday, the 17th. Midge, you want to have a comment in terms of what we're going to be talking about? Yo, Midge. Okay, put her on the spot. There you go.
Yo. Okay. Yes, we're going to be talking about the WSU what do you call them?
Priorities.
Priorities. So, and how they apply, how we apply them or should apply them with our conversations with people. If somebody asks what's Master Gardeners about, we can point them to the 9 priorities, and hopefully with the study group we will further educate ourselves on what those priorities are and what they mean to us as Master Gardeners. So it's also St. Patrick's Day, so there might be a little surprise in there. And yeah, join us at 1 o'clock on Monday.
Okay, we'll look forward to that. And other comments for the calendar, anything for the good of the order? Helen, I know you wanted to put out a word regarding an upcoming St. Patty's banquet, right?
The Alma Methodist Church with Garnet are serving their traditional corned beef and cabbage, and they have a really nice spinach and strawberry salad that goes with it, plus the traditional soda bread and that. And that is, of course, on Monday the 17th. On Tuesday the 25th at the Montesano Library, we have a program for those of you interested in Elton Bennett, the artist who's got the silk screens all over. His daughter is going to talk to us about his art and his artwork. And what else is happening? Out in April the 12th is the Trillium Trek. And the following weekend, that's a Saturday from 1 to 3. The following Saturday from 11 to 1, I think, or 10 to 1, it's not very long, is the native plant sale at the Thurston County Fairgrounds. They've shortened the time, so be there early and be happy. Thank you.
Helen, do you want to put maybe your email in the chat? So if anyone has questions regarding times or locations for any of those announcements you just made, can ping you on that.
Wonderful. Will do. Thank you.
It's actually 10 o'clock that the plant sale starts.
10 to 1, was it?
10, yes, 10 to 1.
Yeah, I've even got a poster on it.
And
anyway, okay, will do.
And so, and by the way, with respect to those native plant sales, I would encourage you, if it says 10 to 1, be there at 9:30, yeah, be there early. They'll go fast. Any other announcements, any other dates we want to make sure folks are aware of?
Under the pencil on the 15th, there is a meeting in Montesano Library of the Greater Grace Harbor Group. Everybody be welcome to come.
Very good. That's coming Saturday.
Yeah, so quick.
Okay. Big dates we have to be thinking about, of course, for this year include the plant sale coming up in May and the Home and Garden Show on the 17th and 18th, followed by the tour in July. So again, as we all know, these are, this is all hands on decks moments here. So, please put these dates in the calendar, noting that that setup for the Home and Garden Show will actually begin on that Thursday the 15th. So volunteers are needed Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 15th through the 17th. Not to mention, of course, the sale on the Saturday before that. Terry, I know you put some notices in the e-news. You want to amplify any of that or make some additional comments? It's coming up.
Hi, my question is, what day is Cisco going to be there?
Sunday.
Thank you.
So he'll be there on Sunday the 18th. There you go. And it's always a draw.
And Marianne Benetti will be there Sunday as well.
Sorry, I had my mute on.
I was thinking that.
Yes, we have some really great speakers. On Saturday, we have a Mason County Master Gardener who's going to do a presentation on sedums. And because, we try and boost attendance, we're going to give away little 4-inch pots of sedums. So if you'd like to help with that effort, we would really appreciate any 4-inch pots of sedums that you'd like to donate. So she's going to be Saturday. Also on Saturday, we have Nancy Nesbitt from Rhodesia Flowers who's coming back. And we have our speaker who did the presentation on roses speaking also on Saturday. Blanking out on her name. Kelly, do you?
Kim
Yes.
Eshian. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. And then on Sunday, we have both Marianne Benetti and we have Cisco. So 2 really terrific speakers. So please tell your friends and family to check out our speaker schedule.
Where is that speaker schedule? How do I get a hold of it?
Well, you'll be getting it shortly. We're just confirming times for all the speakers, and then you'll get it.
Thank you.
It's coming. It's coming.
Thank you.
Just need confirmations from our speakers as to their times.
Any other comments regarding dates and preparations?
One note on the garden tour, we now have 4 gardens confirmed for the garden tour in July. And it's going to be a really nice show with 2 really big gardens and then 1 medium size and 1 surprisingly, I wouldn't call it a small size because it's got a bigger backyard than you would ever suspect looking at the front of the house. So I think it's going to be a really nice garden tour. Barbara Porter is organizing the plant sale, and she's going to need lots of plants and lots of help for that.
And of course, this is indeed the time to be thinking about plants to plant and make ready for that July tour. So it's a big deal, as everyone who knows, in terms of money makers for us. So your participation and encouragement is hugely encouraged here. Okay, so moving on to reminders about who we are. And again, this is just, we put up this slide every month so that we can talk a little bit about, about what's all going on, and in terms of who we are as a foundation when we meet here as a foundation and who we are as a program. So as a foundation, we're a nonprofit 501c3 recognized by the IRS and by the state of Washington. We are a separate corporation. And this separate corporation has one mission, basically to support the program. And so we do so primarily through financial support because, WSU provides us no direct financial support for the program. So it behooves us to make sure that we're generating income and financial reserves to serve the program initiatives that we have. Now, the program itself, of course, is run by WSU Extension. And this is of course what we all are part of this certification process that ensures that we're there to deliver research-based education to our community. And in today's world of AI generated hoopla, there's nothing it's having research-based information is certainly certainly valued. And we can I guess thinking about all the crazy stuff you can get off the internet these days, and to which our public is besieged by. So the focus of us to ensure that we're providing research-based information is a big step forward. So our nonprofit, right, is led by Mike, and the board, key board members are listed here. Again, this board meeting we'll have our monthly board meeting will be at 1 p.m. today. Everybody's welcome to join. And within our geography, we are led in 3 sub-regions by Brenda, Laura, Lori, and Peggy. And again, it goes back to the fact that unique of our foundation, we span 2 counties here. And our 2 counties and their 3,500 square miles is a vast geography. And so, having small sub-regions allows small groups to get together and to have more physical networking. Okay, we're still waiting for WSU to assign us a liaison educator, and Wendy is our coordinator. And as Wendy, as you announced in the e-news, you'd love to solicit a second coordinator to join us. Do you want to say anything more about that?
Yeah, I put that out there. I originally put the deadline as the 7th, which is where the e-news came out. So I changed that to this Friday. So if you have any interest in being the co-coordinator, please email me. It actually, because it is a Washington State University extension, the program, we are working with Jennifer Marquis to actually interview that person or people and to make a recommendation, and then make the recommendation to the foundation, because the foundation does support us a little bit financially, which is awesome. Thank you very much. And so that they are aware of who the other co-coordinator would be.
Okay, so it's out there, folks. Anyone interested in joining Wendy as a co-coordinator, right? This is an opportunity. And Wendy, I know, we know how much work you put into this in terms of the effort and energy that you devote to it. But could you say a little bit about the fact that you do find it satisfying and rewarding and pleasant?
Do. Yeah, I actually do. It is a lot of work, but I love the hands-on and just being out there with the community. I am going to talk about that in a few minutes too, when Kelly, when we're done with this part, but so a little bit more information about it. But as far as the coordinator, I'm really looking for somebody that is very computer savvy, because I'm old and I certainly am willing to learn new, but I just don't have the time in the day to be able to do both really well. So that's what I'm kind of looking for. If you're really good with computers and know, just the whole organization as a whole, feel free. And anybody, I'm willing to work with anybody that is willing to learn as well. But that's what I'm kind of looking for. So, but yeah, I love this position. There are days that I probably don't, but for the most part, I do. It is just fun to be with people. It's a great organization.
So again, inquiries and comments over to Wendy and take a peek at it. Okay, and a quick reminder, of course, is that we are a service organization. And so the reason why we are here is to serve our community. And there's a tremendous amount of opportunities to serve, as Wendy just indicated. And so, I might even put a pitch out there, Wendy, in that it's not necessary to be a co-coordinator to offer to assist you in any
for
sort of
sure.
committee role or any sort of assistance that you might want to request.
Yeah.
So there's this is in all
Yeah, I
of our,
do. Yeah.
yeah,
I,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I didn't interrupt you, but I do have a lot of people that have really stepped up and have helped a lot. I certainly haven't done any of this on my own, so it takes a whole village. I have lots of people working on computer stuff and lots of people that are doing workshops and events. It's not me that's doing everything. I'm hoping that I'm organizing it a little bit better, but we'll just keep moving forward.
Okay. Okay, and then we're going to stay with you, Wendy, and have you take on this program here. And this slide do you want to give a background in terms of the slide deck you're about to share?
Yeah, I think probably we can share this one. It is because it's a Master Gardener program. And then the next slide is just about how we are. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. Yeah, we welcome everybody, no matter what their regards their race. And this one I'm not going to go to yet. Okay, so we really embrace everybody. So today I kind of want to talk, and then you can go ahead and not share that for a second, the whole PowerPoint. You can so that we can just talk. I don't want to talk about the Washington Green School yet. So there's other stuff. So if you want to not share that anymore and have it like the PowerPoint so that we can all kind of see each other, that would be awesome. If that makes sense to you, Kelly.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so today, first of all, I want to thank everybody. I sent out an email inviting everybody because this is one of the few places that we all are together, that we all can really talk as a collective. So I really thank you for coming today. I do appreciate that because we have to remember we are a whole organization. And I have been either a co-coordinator or a coordinator now for a year. I started last March, and with lots of help from Elena and Brenda, I think that I have been fairly successful. There's certainly things that I can improve upon. And so one of the goals that I had for myself for the organization when I interviewed, and I think I've mentioned this a few times, but I really want to help our community organization come together as a whole. And when I first was an intern, it seemed, this is personal, but it seemed like there was the different areas, and you almost had to be part of that area. For example, and this is no reflection because it's totally changed, but at first, when they had the general areas, a few of us went to the Elma area. I live in Ocean Shores, by the way. We'd go to the Elma meetings, and there's a few of us that went to the Ocean Shores meetings. But it was kind of a weird situation that we were always welcome, but then we weren't on the list to be able to get the information from the Elma area. That has changed, by the way. So that was at first. So there's definitely some things that are happening that are improving and helping each other be a whole community. And unfortunately, we all know that it spans over 3,500 miles. That's a lot of miles. That's a lot of geographic area. So it's really important for us to come together, for example, like today, or go to each other's meetings so we know what's going on. So my goal was to help with everybody kind of coming together. And I have to say that there is definitely some improvement on my part. And I think that communication, like here, is key. And so like I said, I have notes, so I don't lose my space because I tend to go off my little script here. But we all have skills and we all have abilities and we can all help each other. And I really hope that this next year we move forward with more working together as a collective, an entire group. And I certainly will take responsibility that communication. Just a second, we have somebody on the phone. There we go. The communication on my part can improve to get it to the whole group. And I have to give you an example of a part where I can improve on my communication, and that is the garden. And Peggy came to me. Peggy's at this meeting actually today. She came to me last September because her and Rhonda had talked about starting a new garden out in Ocean Shores so that we can help the people out in Ocean Shores. And she's been working on this 7 months, at least 7 months, and actively working on it, doing all the information that she needs to do. We've been working with WSU, and quite frankly, that was really a mistake on my part that I did not communicate that right away, that Peggy had come to me and said, hey, we want a garden out here. So I do want to, first of all, apologize for doing that. Lesson learned. I certainly am open to, she presented at the foundation and the other day and is presenting at the foundation today as well. So please attend that meeting so she can give you more information. But I could have communicated that earlier and maybe, it would have alleviated some of the stress around it. And I do want to say, as a coordinator, I am open to anybody coming to me and saying, hey, I want to do a garden, or I want to do a workshop, or I want to do an event. If it's a fundraising event, that does have to go through the foundation. We don't do the finances, the foundation, thankfully. They do an amazing job for us, and they support us in many ways other than financial. And so I'm into listening to anything. I did have someone come to me about Hoquiam and starting a garden, but it is a long process. It's not easy. And like I said, Peggy's been working on this for months, and it's going to be a work in progress as well. We are trying to improve things or get the cost down, things like that. So we're working on that. And Peggy's mostly working on that. I can't take credit for that. But I'm willing as a coordinator to say, hey, let's open it up to everybody. Again, I apologize that I didn't bring that up. So and today's meeting, Peggy will talk about that. So the other thing is we do have communication right now, and unfortunately, probably not all of us are using it as well as we should or could. For example, this general meeting, it is not only program, but it's foundation. Both of the information from both organizations, because we are separate, is extremely important. As you know, Terry and Rhonda and Robin have been working on the Home and Garden show. That's huge. That's huge for us. They made 22,000 profit last year. That really helps our programs. And because of them, we can do the things we can do. So this venue is amazing. We also have the e-news, which Katie does a fabulous job on. And the foundation has also graciously put on their foundation website any Master Gardener volunteer opportunities for us. And then, of course, Chris puts on the Grace Harbor County website. She puts the public information on there, and then Sue from the Extension Office in Pacific County puts it on to the Pacific County. But it's really nice that we have the foundation calendar that we can all come together rather than having to go to two different websites and figure out stuff. So we are very fortunate that the foundation has given us that venue to do this. So please check out the calendar. Yes, there are changes. Yes, there are, little things that probably drives Randy and Chris totally crazy, because at the beginning of the year, I wanted everybody to put their stuff on the calendar, and then we have changes on the calendar. So they have to go through the process of changing those, but it's still, and we're working on that. So work in progress, but it's a really good place for all of us as a collective to go to and see what's going on in the other counties. Counties and areas. Please start helping each other. We know we have the composting workshop. It's in, Brenda, I know you're here. Date is April 27th, I think. I'm not quite sure. I wrote it down. And
It's Saturday, June 14th in the South Bend Garden.
Okay, yeah, there I totally had the wrong date. There you go. And Brenda's been doing that, which is awesome, but she also got the information from Karen Young, who is from Ocean Shores. So we really are working together to try to do things together. But again, we need to have that communication. So this venue, like I said, is really important. Elena, do you have a question, comment? And you're on mute.
Yeah, okay, I just had a comment on April 19th, Michael Klein and Anna Allen are putting together a salsa workshop at the Ilwaco Museum, and the growing vegetables and fruit, because tomatoes are fruit, to make salsa. But the exciting thing for me is that we're going to put that information together into a bin that we can then share with other areas in our two counties. And Ocean Shores has already expressed interest in doing something like that. So that's what's exciting for me, is that, yes, it's a new workshop. Yes, we're putting a lot of work into developing it, but it's going to be available for other counties and areas as well.
Thank you, Elena. Yeah, that actually is on my notes as well. That we also have, like Kelly Miller has put and Elizabeth have put together a youth committee, and it's for both counties. Again, they're developing stuff so that it also can go into a bin and it can go to each of the counties, and then they're responsible for putting on the event, but they don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like, we are working together, which is awesome. So Kelly and Elizabeth have traveled to all of the areas as well, and she also does a Zoom. So we really are coming together as a community, which is awesome. We also have, trying to think off the top of my head. And then, of course, the garden, we know about the garden. I talked about that. Let's see. Oh, we also have created, like, because of our collective, we have, not we, I should say you, because I'm not the one that has created these. You have created over 30 plant clinics this year. And that's not counting the ones that might be last minute. That's a lot of plant clinics. It is required that the interns have the 10 hours, so we certainly were thinking of them, but we don't have a requirement as a certified master gardener at this point. We're looking into that into the future to have maybe 2 hours of the plant clinic required for every certified, but right now it is not a requirement. We chose to wait a whole year to kind of look at what we have available first. And the people that are plant clinic people it's amazing, have come together, looked at the calendar and said, hey, let's put together these plant clinics. So that's a lot of plant clinics. We also have, like I said, several workshops that are going on that everybody, of course, is invited to look on the calendar. And thank you, Kelly, for going over this stuff each month as well. So it really helps to come here to be reminded once again. Okay, and then I think the next thing is, it's a kind of a sensitive topic, but I have an advisory team. I don't know if everybody knows that. When I first, probably last October, I knew that I was going to be the coordinator, the only coordinator for now, because I really wanted to learn the process first before I try and teach someone else. It's kind of hard when you don't know the information. I feel like I'm in a place now that I bring on another coordinator, like I talked about earlier. And certainly anybody is welcome to apply for that. Deadline is Friday. But my advisory team, there's about 12 or 13 of us. I'm not sure the exact number. But we came together in October and we really looked at our strengths and as a program side. And then we looked at what are some weaknesses that we have that we can maybe improve. And there are several. Again, this is my fault for not communicating that to the entire group. Somebody pointed that out the other day in the foundation meeting, and I thought, you're right. I hopefully have kept the advisory team up to date of what things we are working on. For example, Zoom and being in a Zoom meeting. Kelly has sent out information about how to improve your skills. We've talked about it. There's just lots of things that are, kind of going on in the background, and I really should have communicated that better with everybody. So one of and I haven't given anybody any chance. All I've done is talk. Does anybody have any questions so far? Any comments? I hate to just talk to everybody, but let's give everybody an opportunity. And Kelly is kind enough to help me out because I can't always see who's raising their hand, but I don't see anybody.
In fact, I want to make sure we move along here, Wendy, too, to make sure that we get Katie on here too. Okay.
Yep. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. I decided kind of a different direction. So anyway, my advisory team, one of the things I want to be open and very clear about is that we have been working, Elizabeth and I, as the advisory team, we looked at some stuff. And one of the things that we looked at was to respect each other. And we all have our unintentional biases. And sometimes you just need to look at those and say, oh, I didn't really intentionally mean to do that. And I have to say that I've done that a couple of times. And it's like, I not only embarrassed somebody else, but then later I was embarrassed that for myself that I even acted or said something unintentionally to somebody during a meeting or whatever. So we are going to have we've been working, Elizabeth and I, she decided to take that on, and she contacted Dan Teuteberg, and Dan contacted Tessa, who is the coordinator in Mason County, and they are putting on a workshop okay, help me out, Elizabeth, what date is it at? It's sometime in June, I think.
Let me check the date.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, it's
the invitation
June 17th.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Dan will be sending out the invitation for that because Elizabeth and I are going to participate as volunteers rather than be facilitators. It is in person Elizabeth, help me out here because you're arranging that. It's going to be in person, but however, we can have, it's better to do it in person, but we also understand that we have Ilwaco or South Bend people that can't travel or may not be able to travel. So I think that we are going to have a Zoom option for Ilwaco and South Bend area. And we kind of want to do everything together because it's really important to do it together. We certainly hope that everybody from Ilwaco and from South Bend will be able to participate in person. But I thought I'd give you kind of a heads up that we are trying to do some stuff all together. And this is kind of an important, we need to be respectful to each other. And again, I've mentioned that my biases or what I've said sometimes have hurt people. And then we also have other members that have done the same thing. We've had at least 3 members this last year that did not renew their membership because of somebody saying something to somebody. So we really want to address that and address our and I can't say necessarily bias, but it's address maybe we've grown up, our culture is different than someone else's, and we need to look at those types of things that we do for people. So anyway,
Elizabeth, you have your hand up.
I do. I just wanted to, what I'm working on is getting the Causey Lions Club as a central meeting point for the area. I think we could pull in without too much trouble most of all of Grays Harbor County, I hope, and the South Bend area. And then Kelly, we were thinking of a central meeting area somewhere in the Ilwaco area for the Peninsula folks, because that's a long, long ways to go to come up to Causey.
We have a long time to talk about that, right? For June, right?
Yes, we do.
Yes,
but
we
I thought
do.
I would be open and say something. So be prepared. We hope that put it on your calendar. Please be mindful of that.
Okay.
So today I was going to go over, and Kelly may only take about 5 more minutes. So if anybody has any questions or concerns, please, 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 first of all, call me. Sometimes at 3 a.m. I'm up too, but call me at reasonable hours, right? And then also, you're welcome to email me. Today, I was going to talk about the Washington Green School. If I have a few minutes, Kelly, do I have a few minutes to kind
Let's
of
go.
talk about
Yeah,
it?
let's go. Just take a few. You bet.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay, so the Washington Green School is the new training. And I know that this is a lot of information on one slide. I don't particularly like doing that, but this is, it kind of looks at both of them. These are the course options. There's 2. Washington State is doing all of their training from October to February every year. This is our off year normally, but we are training because if we don't, we won't have new Master Gardeners until 2027, and that's way too long. So we chose to participate. So if you know anybody that wants, and I've gotten several names so far, anyone that wants to take the training, please give them my email address. I prefer my Washington State email address, which is wendla.balmer.wsu.edu. So keep track of these and contact the people. There's 2 ways that you can 2 course options. This is all the online. WSU is doing all of the online. So they have the lessons, they have the lectures, they have all that part. We as a county have to do the hands-on. So the 2 are Washington Gardener. It costs $550 and it's the online course only. And then these people get a Washington Gardener certificate. So people like that work in landscaping or somebody help me out. I'm trying to think. They work on maintenance. That's what it is, like a maintenance area for parks and stuff. Or teachers, they can get their continuing education from this particular course. It's an online course. They are charging more, and our county will get it. It'll actually be at WSU. They hold the funds, but there are certain funds of this will go to our county to be able to use for activities and events. So that right now we have no money in there. After this, hopefully we'll have some, but it goes to the counties. Like if we have somebody in this county that participates in that, then we would get part of the money, but we don't have to do anything, part of the training or anything. We don't do any part of that. The second option is what we're excited about is the Master Gardener program. You complete the application just like everybody's done. You do exactly the online that the Washington Gardener certificate does. But then we, as a county, we have in-person labs, which is 20 hours of lab. And then we have 40 hours of intern hours minimum. So, and that the cost of that is $275. They do have some scholarships. I believe WSU does, but the foundation last year also had some funds. I didn't ask them the other day. I'm assuming that they would give us probably some money. I believe it was $1,000 for the last training. I could be wrong on that, but we do have some funds in there that we can help people if they can't afford it. But then again, this money, the 275 part of that comes back to our county as well, because it does cost to do the training, the in hands-on type labs. So the timeline is July 1st through the 30th. The volunteers can put it, the application window opens. Chris Collar is working on the websites to connect everything. So we do not have the applications right now. I don't know what they look like because Jennifer Marquis and Brian are working on that. They're almost done with it. So it's a work in progress. They are changing the application a little bit, but that's when it opens. August 30th, we will inform the newly accepted interns and provide the registration link for the online school. October 1st, we all come together and welcome each other and kind of go through the volunteer hours and what the organization is all about, and what, as a volunteer, what you have to do. And then the online course actually starts October 5th. 2025, this year. And then the course ends in February. It is weekly. They have, WSU has provided the online modules, and they are going through Moodle, different venue or different company that they're going through. And we as a team, one of the questions is, well, will we have access to the online course? The answer to that is yes, sort of. We as coordinators and 2 other people will have access to the online course so that we can train and help our teams. But if you are a master gardener and you don't want, and you want to go through the process to get continuing education hours, it is $125. So if you want access to that for an individual, again, the coordinators, and which will be 2 of us at that time, plus 1 other person, will have access to. I'm hoping it'll be 4 just because of our areas, but we'll find out that they'll have access to that. They also, they do it weekly. The classes, the online classes are weekly. And they have the lectures. So we don't have to provide any of the lectures like we have in the past. And that was a lot of work. Anybody that worked on that team knows that's a lot of work. We as a county only do the hands-on. And the way that I'm hoping to plan this out is to have mentors. And the 20 hours of lab, these are I'll send out this PowerPoint so you don't have to try and read this whole thing. But the 20 hours lab will cover all the information that you see, just like we normally do. But we're hoping to create workshops and events so that we're actually doing hands-on, mentoring somebody at a plant clinic, mentoring somebody at a workshop while we're running a workshop. We can get those hours. We just want people to be proficient at what they're doing. And I don't know about you, but myself, I learned when I went out to a plant clinic with Jude or with Lou and Scott, I learned a lot. And that's where I learn it rather than watching somebody else do a video or whatever. So I need people that want to be on the team. I don't know how many people we're going to have. So I'm not sure how many mentors we will have, but the more we have, the better, because we can share. You're not responsible. So as a mentor, you'd be, say, responsible for 2 trainees or interns and inviting them to these workshops and helping with, so that they have somebody they can go with and go to these so they don't feel uncomfortable, and they learn the process with you alongside you. But you can have 2 or 3 mentors with one or two people that you can share those responsibilities. So I'm really looking for somebody. So if you're interested in being an intern, please email me. Okay, so yeah. And then this part right here, I am not going to go over. I'm going to send this. I'll briefly go over it, but I had a veteran say, I'm not even sure anymore. I've been in this organization for so long. I'm not sure what I need to do for a workshop. And this is really the proper procedures is you just have to get approval from the coordinator, provide a lesson plan, and we have lots of lesson plans. So it could be like these planned things that Kelly is doing or like Elaine is doing, we'll have a lesson plan for that. You don't have to recreate it. It's like the only reason why we do those is we want to make sure it's WSU or OSU research based information. And then a developer, a flyer, it must include the Master Gardener logo and the non-discrimination statement and the WSU civil rights policies. Of course, you have to find a place. Have all the paperwork. I sent out everything except for the lesson plan. I already sent that out the other day, but I'll send it out again. I don't know about the DEI information at this point because of things changing. But WSU right now, we're just following what our normal DEI information that we have always followed. And if that changes, I will definitely let you know. And of course, you need to recruit volunteers, hold the event, and then turn in the paperwork. It sounds simple, and it is, but these are really important because at the end of the year, I do a report to WSU and give them all these numbers. So of all of our workshops and all of what we've done and how many pounds we even say how many pounds of produce that we give to the community. So there's lots of information that we give to WSU. And lastly, and then I will turn it over, the stories, I know that we've mentioned this before, but the stories, of when we're working with people and somebody comes up to us and says, hey, I learned this last year and I really like these workshops. I love coming back and this is what I learned. Please write those down because that is a huge part of the report that I give at the end of the year. I actually have to, believe it or not, put in statements from people. And I had several this year, but it would be really nice. I know like Natalie puts in these amazing stories of people, what they've done and how they participated. And I'm able to put that in there so that we can let not only our commissioners know, but also the WSU, and which goes to federal. It's a federal report. It goes to them and we can tell our story, who we're helping. That's it. Are there any questions? And then I'll turn it over to Katie. Sorry, Katie, I know I took way too much time. But...
Any questions for Wendy? Lots to take in, and we'll hear more about it. But the key point, of course, we're emphasizing here is that training is going to be every year. Training is going to be led by WSU, and it's early. Things are going to happen early with respect to signups and execution.
Yeah, thank you.
Don't hesitate to reach out to Wendy if you have questions or other comments. And with that, I want to turn this over to our very special colleague, Katie, who is here today, officially representing Timberland Regional Library. So, Katie, over to you.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me okay? See me okay? Okay. Well, in a fun fact, I realized this is actually the very first time I have ever attended a Tuesday general meeting live since I've been a Master Gardener. I just had to do it through the library. It was really what happened at the end of the day. Thank you so much for having me. I, again, am a librarian with the Timberland Regional Library. Most often you'll find me here at Hoquiam. And before I get started with my presentation, I would just like everyone to take a minute to think about some of the services that the library offers. And that could be Timberland Library, it could be the wonderful library out in Ocean Shores, or it could be a library from times past where you've gone to one. You can put that in the chat, you can say it out loud, or if you don't feel like doing either, just take a moment to think about it. So what services can the public library offer you?
Audiobooks, ebooks, besides the books on the shelves, CDs, things you can it sounds odd to say rent. I'm borrowing cooking stuff from Montesano.
Yeah.
Oh, the printing. Every month we get 40 something free prints, copies.
More than that, actually, and I'll even talk about that today. So yeah, Kelly in the comments mentioned DVD checkouts, also grant resources, which I'll talk about today as well. Give another moment. Anyone else have anything to share?
Well,
meeting room?
Yeah.
That's a big one.
We have the page turners, our book club.
Yeah, book club's very common program offered by the library. All right. So those are just a handful of the things that public libraries offer their patrons nowadays. Public libraries are actually really becoming kind of a community clearinghouse. So in addition to all the wonderful physical things that we offer, like spaces, technology, printing, meeting rooms, we also offer a lot in the way of digital resources as well, and even some very unconventional collection items that one may think in the grand scheme of things. So let me go ahead and share my screen real quick and make sure it behaves and works. So does everyone see a big map on the screen? Okay, I'm seeing lots of heads nodding, so I'm going to assume that's yes. So this is the service area for the Timberland Regional Library System. Now, I don't know if you know this, Timberland Regional Library System actually got its start in 1968. This is a fairly old library system in our neck of the woods, and we're comprised of 5 counties covering almost 7,000 square miles. So this is not a small library system. And we have 29 branches in those 5 counties, 8 of which are in Grays Harbor. You can see in the upper left there listed, we have Aberdeen, Amanda Park, Elma, Hoquiam, McCleary, Montesano, Oakville, and Westport. And so all of the system, while we're serving our individual community, are also part of this bigger district-wide area. And so if you live in these areas, you qualify for a library card. The way we get most of our funding is through, we get a little teeny tiny piece from property taxes, and that all goes in a big pot, which then serves this whole library district. And so that makes up the vast majority of our budget. So if, for example, I live in Hoquiam, I don't have to pay anything. I automatically qualify for a library card. You just walk into your local library branch, or heck, if you find yourself in Olympia, as long as it's a Timberland branch, you can walk into any of them and get set up with a library card. So for that, typically we just need to see some identification. And if it doesn't have your current address, something like a piece of mail that just shows you live in our service area. And with that library card, you can do so many different things. Again, it's not just the amazing physical resources we have, but also the digital resources too. And so one of those things that's really great is that we actually have what's called reciprocal borrowing agreements. So what you're seeing on this page is a list of all the library systems in Washington State that you can go to because you're a Timberland Regional Library Card holder. You can actually go and get a library card at their system. So particularly for any of our Master Gardeners who maybe have a home elsewhere and they commute out to Grays Harbor and Pacific County, you could potentially have library cards in both locations. Or, you know, if you're like me, I use a lot of digital resources, and so that increases the amount of digital collection that I have access to. And what's also nice is you typically get access to most of their online resources and some of the other, you know, benefits like meeting rooms and those things as well. So it can be a really great way to expand the reach of the resources that you have at hand, just getting, first of all, your Timberland Regional Library card. And of course, speaking of physical resources, which is kind of the foundation of the purpose of a lot of our libraries, is we have so many great physical resources available. As mentioned earlier by Chris, we've got not just books, but also audiobooks, we've got DVDs, magazines, and a lot of those are also available digitally too. So it really depends. We have some users who are digital only. We have some users who are do a mix. That would be me. I tend to go with when it's available. So whether that's digital or physical, it doesn't matter to me. And then we have quite a bit that's still available physically. So what you're looking at right here is directly from our website. In fact, all of my presentation today, except for one webpage, is all exclusively accessible from our website, trl.org. So you can go there, you can find all this stuff. and check it out. There's so many great resources tucked away in here that you can make use of, whether you're gardening or whether, for other personal reasons. So this one right here is our new items that have been added in the home and garden category. And I'm going to scroll just a little bit, so I'll try to go slow so I don't make anyone seasick. But you can see some of the new titles that have recently been added. And it gives you information on the type of material. In this case, it's a physical book, and lets you have the option to place a hold on it too. And so we're continuously adding lots of great titles in our gardening section, so that can support a lot of us, whether we're doing workshops or we have specific projects we ourselves want to research on our own. Another option too, as I mentioned, is the digital collection that we have. So with a regular library card through TRL, you can check out up to 50 items and place up to 50 holds on physical items. For digital items, that's 12 checkouts and 12 holds respectively. And so the site we are looking at is where you can access specifically the digital side of things. And that's through a free app called Libby. I'm just pausing one moment, just checking for any questions. Oh, I see from Chris, I have them for several libraries like Pierce County, and they've all been great. Yes, I agree. From Wendy, is there a way to join Timberland if you live in an area that does not have access to Timberland? So there is. The way that works is, so for example, if you live in Ocean Shores, they are not a part of our system. And so if you live in the city limits, you would have to pay the non-resident fee for that. For people who live technically in Ocean Shores, but are outside of the city limits, they qualify for a free Timberland library card. I know it's kind of splitting hairs a little bit, but if you're outside the city limits, but technically still Ocean Shores, you can get a Timberland library card. So some things to keep in mind. And if you have questions about the pricing, because you can also pay for a non-resident card for a set amount of time. So say you're only here part of the year, you could just pay to have that library access for that part of the year that you're here. So great questions, and please keep them coming. I'll keep trying to check to make sure I don't miss them. So here, so this is again is Libby. This is the digital access for our digital collection. And what's really great with that is, again, you can get digital audiobooks. And one really cool thing is for those of us who might have like a hearing aid device, for the more recent models, they actually have Bluetooth, and you can connect that to, say, a cell phone or a tablet, and then you can listen to the audiobook through your hearing aid. So my dad's actually able to do that, and it's really cool to be able to get that better quality experience through that. There's also options for changing the font size, which has been a real plus. A lot of people really like being able to do that if they have a vision issue. And additionally, it's not just limited to things like audiobooks and books. So pardon me while I scroll for just one moment. Down here, so we actually have a very robust collection of digital magazines. These have no checkout limit, and there's a very large number of gardening magazines that are included in this. So this could be a really great option for you to be able to check out some gardening magazines if we happen to not have a physical subscription. So that's another great use for our digital collection as well. Now, moving on from what I would maybe describe as more traditional items. So we had our physical books, magazines, audiobooks, we have our digital ones. Well, we've also got other collections at the library. So for example, we have our assistive devices collection. This is through the Washington Assistive Technology Act program. And these are aids for better living. So these are items that you can place a hold on just like a book, and it goes to your library branch, and they have a number of resources available. So you can try them out, see if they work for you, and then purchase them if you feel that's something that you need. And there's a wide variety from everything from dressing to kitchen, to recreation, household. And so this can be a really great way to better enhance your day-to-day life without spending all the money on something you don't actually need. You can get a chance to try it out. It's a really great collection. I love being able to share this with people and let them know that that's available to them. Another collection we have is our library of things. So these are unique items that don't necessarily fit the traditional library collection. These can be everything from backpacks, like our partnership with the State Parks Foundation. We have Check Out Washington backpacks where you can get a Discover Pass, binoculars, guidebook information. So you can take that to go explore outdoors. We've even got things like stargazing backpacks. Partnering with the Audubon Society, we have birding backpacks available that have binoculars, guidebooks, what have you. We've also got ones for outdoor exploration, like bike maintenance kits. We even have standalone Discover passes that are available for checkout too. The only thing with this collection is just be aware that some of them are branch specific. So if there's one you're interested in, do double check before, you run to the Hoquiam Library to go get it. You want to make sure that it's one that's available at that branch. And then, of course, since we're gardeners, we also, some of our branches do have seed libraries. So not every location does. It kind of has depended on community interest and then also staff availability. But we have a fair number that do offer seed libraries. So in our county specifically, Elma has one, Montesano has one, and then I thought there was one more. Well, Raymond's quite close to us, but Raymond has one in Pacific County. And so these are available as well. And also what's really cool about this landing page is that we have gardening books here, and it shows ebooks, e-magazines, large print, and also some of our gardening online resources. So we have this as a dedicated page on our website. Now, if there's something that the library doesn't have, that's not the end of the world, it doesn't mean you're not going to be able to get it. One of the services that we offer is called interlibrary loan. So if we have something that's not in our collection and it's not super new, because we certainly don't want to take those new items away from the local library where they live at, you can request things from books to CDs, DVDs, even photocopied journal articles, even microfilm for those who are doing local history research. So that is a really great option to be able to get materials that we may not currently have in our collection. I use that all the time to get like foreign films, for example. And I've seen stuff come even like as far away as like Connecticut and New York to help fill holes. And typically that's at no cost to the patron. The only time I've seen a price had to do with microfilm, just because it's a more sensitive medium. The lending library usually charges like a small fee, like somewhere in the range of $5 to $15 to have that sent here. And which is great because the people who were doing genealogy research didn't want to have to go to Iowa to be able to get access to it because it was not digitized yet. So also we offer personalized picks. So if you're doing, whether you want to, find some new mystery authors you want to read, or if you want to are doing research on something and need some help finding materials on that, library staff are able to help provide personalized picks. So this is on our website in our browse tab, and you just fill out this small form, and you can get some feedback on suggested titles, or you can stop in your local branch too, and staff are typically happy to help with that as well. And then moving on from our actual, like our collection focused stuff, we also offer a lot in the range of technology, which can be really huge in our area, especially with so many rural areas that may have difficulty accessing the internet. We have computers and Wi-Fi available in all of our buildings. Wi-Fi is actually on from 6 a.m. to midnight. So often, even if we're closed, say you're, miss getting in and you're waiting for the bus, you should be able to still get access outside of our building. And all of our computers have the basic Microsoft Office suite. So you can actually get a lot of the basic stuff covered by using one of our desktop computers. Now, the big one that a lot of people make use of here with our library is our printing, scanning, and faxing services. So printing, you get $44 a month. So that translates into 440 black and white pages, or 88 color. And then the amount's going to vary, obviously, if you do a mix of the two. And that resets on the first of the month every month. We can't do other paper than the paper we have in our machines. That's probably the most common question we get. I want to print these invitations on cardstock. And we're like, sorry, that's an agreement with the company. We have to just use the paper that's in there. But you can even upload from home. So if you're not going to be able to get into the library in the morning, upload your documents remotely, and then come to the library and print them later in the day. That's also a really excellent service. In addition, we do free scanning and faxing. You don't even need your library card for that. So if you want to scan a document to send to your email, or if you need to submit something, you can do that. And then we also pay for a fax service. So you scan it, it gets converted into a fax and sent on to your destination, which is really huge, especially for some of the, industries that still make use of faxes that otherwise that would be extremely difficult for people to get access to. All right. And then also, so our meeting room spaces, many of our libraries have meeting rooms, not all do, so it is worth checking ahead of time, but many of our branches have available meeting rooms, as you can see from this drop-down menu. Master Gardeners, everyone has made use of them at some point, I believe. And it can be really helpful whether you're doing just a committee meeting, a big group meeting, or even if you just need a space for one person who needs to do a job interview. Our meeting room at Hoquiam certainly gets a lot of use, and many of our other branches too. And not just with library programs, but for all of those and more reasons that people need a meeting room space. Probably one of the most common things we hear is, I was looking for a place for us to get together that would be easy to clean up. We all knew where it was. It would be kind of a neutral spot. It's the most common thing we hear. And so oftentimes people will, come and meet, and we're happy to provide that space as the library. And by the way, I apologize, I missed at the very beginning. I know I just covered Grace Harbor because that's honestly where my brain is like 99% of the time. We of course have other wonderful branches in Pacific County that include Raymond, South Bend, Ilwaco, Ocean Park, and Nassau. So we have other branches down there as well. All excellent, all wonderful staff down there. So I was a bit remiss in mentioning that at the very top of my presentation. Because again, my brain's on Grace Harbor 99% of the time. Brenda, I'm actually going to get to local history resources in just a moment. So that was a very prescient question. So give me just another couple minutes. One other thing that we offer too is expanded access hours. These are primarily at some of our smaller branches, but anyone is able to apply for this. And so what this allows you is, outside of library open hours, you can get access for some of the basic services. So that can include things like printing, if you need to pick up your holds. So that can be a very helpful service. And we do have branches in both Grays Harbor and Pacific County that offer that. Amanda Park, Elma, Ilwaco, McCleary, let's see, Nassau, Ocean Park, let's see, and then Westport as well. And the reason why you don't necessarily see this at some of our bigger branches, it's the systems that we use work really well in these smaller buildings, both for the security systems and what have you, and the technology needed. But in some of our larger buildings, it's almost too complex to be able to do it. For example, trying to pull this off in Hoquiam would be like next to impossible. So, so these are our current EAH locations, and at least at this time, me speaking, I'm not aware of us adding too many more beyond what is currently on this list. All right, and then also we've got all sorts of wonderful events. So I've, because again, I'm partial to Hoquiam, I have our events calendar here narrowed down to Hoquiam. It's got its own dedicated tab at the top of our website, events, and you can narrow it down by branch and scroll down and see what we have going on. So as an example, today we have a digital navigator who's here offering basic tech help. She's here every week from 10 a.m. to noon. We have our Friends Use book sale, and we've got book club meeting tonight, and so on and so forth. And if you were specifically interested in gardening, you can even just do a search and be able to narrow it down and see what's going on in the Timberland system. Why, look, Hoquiam has 3. What could that be? Well, look at that. There's some gardening events coming up. On March 29th, we have the plant swap. Shameless plug, I will admit, with Lou and Scott will be leading the plant clinic piece of that. So the Master Gardeners will be there. That's for all ages. We've had a lot of fun the last year, so everyone's invited to come participate. Talk to Lou and Scott if you're interested in doing the plant clinic. And then I've been doing monthly gardening lectures. So coming up on April 5th, I'm doing one on starting seeds. And on May 10th, attracting wildlife to your garden. It's part of my year of gardening series that I'm doing. Okay, so for this last section, this is kind of about a lot of the resources we have available at TRL. The way to find it is if you're on our main page, if you click online resources, this drop-down menu will show. And we actually have a wide variety of topics already split apart. So if you're interested in genealogy and history, Brenda, so that one is separated right there. We've also got a local history one, and of course, many other topics. And so I'm going to go through and just highlight a few of them. And of course, there's time for questions at the end as well. So if there's something I didn't cover thoroughly enough or didn't cover that you're wondering about, please feel free to ask. So for books, We offer some really great resources like Novelist Plus. This website is really great if you don't have a chance to talk to a librarian. It's a database of book recommendations, and so they can help a lot with things like read-alikes or author read-alikes. I find that to be really useful, particularly looking for things that are not in my wheelhouse, like a particular genre or author that I'm not familiar with. So this can be a very fun resource. And all of these, except for Ancestry, are accessible from home. Typically, when you click on this link where my mouse has highlighted it, it will show a screen that will ask for your library card number and PIN. You put that in, and then you'll be able to get access to the database from home. For business and finance, we have a lot of really great stuff from Gale. They provide a lot for things like business plans, articles on business. We also have a subscription to Data Axle Reference Solutions. It used to be called Reference USA, and this has a ton of information about different types of industries, job skills. If you're looking at historic market trends, all sorts of stuff. If you're starting either a new business, want to revamp your current one, or working as a nonprofit, if you're trying to target a specific audience, this can have a lot of really useful information in it. And scrolling down one moment. So this is the really big one I want to highlight today, because I know so many of our Master Gardeners are involved in nonprofits. We actually have a subscription to Grant Select. So it's an online database of funding opportunities, awards, fellowships. Huge. I'm not really aware of many other libraries on the West Coast that have subscriptions to this service. So if you're looking for grants, check this out. It's got loads of great information there. It's probably one of the top resources I plug, whether I'm talking with businesses or nonprofits, because a lot of people don't know that we have free access to this resource. So do check that out. So we also have a lot of cool stuff for culture, geography, and travel. I know a lot of our Master Gardeners love traveling. This can be a really cool way to get to learn about the place you're going to go. Everything from maps to culture. The A to Z World Food is really fun. They have a lot of recipes and stuff according to culture and locations. So that can be a cool learning tool as well. And just a lot of really interesting things to help you learn. Global Road Warrior is also nice. They have a lot of very travel specific advice. So I often recommend people use that for if they're researching a place they're going to travel, like customs and norms, things of that nature. And then genealogy and history. So we do have a subscription to Ancestry. Ancestry is one of the only resources. They themselves put this rule in place. It has to be used in the library. They relaxed that a little bit during the pandemic, but as soon as the pandemic lessened, they immediately were like, nope, back in the library. So this one you have to use here. You can use your own device, thankfully, but you have to be physically at the library to use it. Some of the other resources that we have a subscription to include Heritage Quest Online. It's a very nice complementary database to using Ancestry for your research. And we also have a subscription to Newspaper Archive, which has a lot of old newspapers from around the world. It's fun to check out on its own, but it can be really good for doing genealogy research too. And also check out, for example, the Grays Harbor Genealogical Society, they actually meet at Hoquiam every month. They also host genealogy cafes that we just had one last Saturday. So there's a lot of great partnerships with local genealogy groups that we have that come in here frequently. So there's a lot of great opportunities if you're interested in genealogy research. Next, for home, hobby, kind of an auto, another one that a lot of people don't realize we have access to is Chilton Online Auto Repair Manuals. That's all been digitized. All those huge big books are digitized and available through this and being updated. They've got 2025 models listed on there already. I help a lot of patrons with using this so they can get the information they need to do auto repair. It's a really great resource. And we've also got a subscription to Consumer Reports. So if you're doing research on making a big purchase, Consumer Reports is really the place to go that I recommend people use. And then turning it back to gardening, Hobbies and Craft Source, they actually have a lot of fun kind of how-to instruction guides for things like building different outdoor things and, you know, raised beds and what have you. And similar with Home Improvement Source, there's a lot of good stuff in there if you're looking for how-tos for building gardening structures. For language learners, we have Mango Languages, which covers over 70 languages, including American Sign Language. There is also an app that you can use if you prefer to do that, but you get free access through the library. Just the main thing is you want to sign up through the website before you start using the app. That's really the direction a lot of language learning stuff has gone. You don't see quite as much produced in print or on CD. If they do it in print, it's typically with a QR code or something where you can access the digital part through a phone or through the internet. They're just not producing as many CDs as they used to for the specific one. Magazines and newspapers, as already mentioned, you can access a lot through Libby. We also have access to a lot of our local newspapers through Newsbank. Some of them, I will say, you only get partial, and that's what they choose to upload. It's not on our side of things. Some we get full perfect copies, like Seattle Times. You get the complete color copy if you want it. So that can be a really great way to get access to magazines and newspapers if you can't afford a subscription or can't make it into the library to look at one of our physical subscriptions of that. And again, for nonprofits, we also have access to the Gale Directory Library, which has a lot of information about nonprofits in the US. Again, Grant Select is another really great resource. I can't plug it enough that we have that available and you can get access for free to that database. It's huge. And then finally, for online learning, the Washington State Library really went to bat for us and was able to get us a subscription at a lower price, or still get access to it actually, for LinkedIn Learning for Libraries. This is over 16,000 courses that are offered for free on all sorts of different stuff. So if you're wanting to get maybe better at Microsoft Word, or wanting to learn, I've used it for training for work, like for customer service skills and stuff. This is a really great resource to be able to learn how to do a lot of like technology, business, software related stuff. This one, I will say, it is dependent on your library card. So just be aware if you change your library card, you kind of have to start over again. It's not perfect, but just be aware of that if you're in process of working on something. But this is another really great resource that you can have access to from the comfort of your home. And with that, I know that's a lot of information, and I was trying to stick to my half hour for chatting. And I will emphasize, if you have any questions about this, you can reach out to me. You can certainly also reach out to your local branch and ask questions, because there's a lot of great stuff going on in our local libraries, and that can really help support you, whether you're for gardening purposes related to the Master Gardeners, or just for your own personal interest, entertainment, education. There's a lot that we have to offer. So with that, are there any questions? Anything I didn't cover in great detail? And again, apologies to our Pacific County folks. I just completely spaced on mentioning that as well, because like I said, I have blinders and I'm focused on Grays Harbor County most of my time. So
questions or comments for Katie? I know we're just kind of in a woo, kind of, the amount of material and the amount of information you share here, Katie, is just phenomenal. Every time I hear a presentation from a TRL person like this, I always pick up something new. So it's a tremendous amount of resources, right, that are available to us for the issue of a library card. Jude, you have your hand up.
I do. Katie, thank you for being here. One, it's really great to see you, even though it's not in person. This is my local library where she is. These are, I use lots of stuff at the library, you know that. But there's one thing that I sometimes need that I can't find there, and that is to get some small document translated into another language, usually into Spanish. Is that a service that's provided at all?
Not currently. In general, that's not really a service offered at a lot of places. If there's translation services offered, it's more about like live in person helping to translate somebody who has like an appointment, like they're trying to, at a doctor's office or something like that. But in terms of just individual people or groups offering translation services, I think that's a little bit more hit or miss. Some of the online translator services are getting better, the automated ones, though still not great. And also it's generally good to, put money in the hands of, people who have some degree of expertise in that. So at least currently that's not a service we provide. We certainly have staff who speak Spanish. I speak Spanish, but would not put myself at being, you know, a super high level translator, like in terms of writing. But yeah, that's one area that still sees a lot of gaps, I would say.
Okay, well, thank you. I was hoping, keeping my fingers crossed, but maybe maybe you could help me with finding a good service to use for that. That would be good. Okay. Anyway, thank you for being with us. We miss you.
Yeah. And a couple of questions in the chat. Another thing, and again, I was trying, because of time, I was trying to keep it fairly tight. We have so many resources and so many things I could talk about. It would put everybody to sleep if I really got going. The Canopy, that's thank you, Chris, for mentioning that. So Canopy is a free online streaming service that we have access to. You can get access for free with your library card. You get set up and there's a wide variety of things offered, everything from the Great Courses Plus, which are like college level lectures. We have them on DVD as well, physical copy, to everything from like popular BBC titles, independent films. There's a lot of really cool stuff you can check out from Canopy. And then to Kelly's comment for the translation, there are with the AI engines. I would just caution, because sometimes I've seen them translate and they've definitely made mistakes. So not the same thing, kind of not perfect, but improving. So I would still recommend you maybe have somebody check the work if possible. Just because I've definitely seen them give some glaring errors. But again, same thing with the other translation services, automated ones, it's steadily improving.
Other questions, other comments here for Katie? This is incredibly, there's so much material and value that's here. It's just truly a data mine that we all need to become skilled with, especially in that so many of the people we service in the community are new to the community and are probably unaware of what TRL has. And so we definitely should be pushing all of the folks we see at plant clinics and workshops to get a library card and get engaged.
And again, almost all my presentation came from the Timberland Regional Library website. So again, trl.org, you can go there, you can poke around and find all that stuff that I was sharing or shared with you today. And I will also mention too, we've had, a great partnership with the folks at the Ocean Shores Library. Not a part of our system. They're just a municipal library serving the folks in Ocean Shores. But they have a lot of great resources available as well. So I would definitely follow up with them, check out what they have to offer too. And extend the same thing as if you're in Ocean Shores, encourage people to get their Ocean Shores library card if they don't have it already.
And so, Katie, truly a shout out, for folks to reach out to, our local librarians, because obviously everyone, all of you librarians have this knowledge at your fingertips and certainly can make it can share it to all of us. So yes, thank you so much.
And I will add too, if in case somebody doesn't know an answer, like just say you bump into somebody and maybe they're a new employee, they don't know, haven't known yet. I would highly recommend you can say, hey, I'm trying to reach somebody, or I'm trying to reach Katie, or you can certainly reach out to me through my personal email stuff and I can try to assist you. But yeah, there's so much there, so much that we have both in the buildings in our communities, our physical collection, our digital collection, and again, a lot of our online resources that we have. They're there to be used. We want people to use them.
And I noticed that it's a key point too, is that you're always adding stuff, right? So, we should continually be seeking and probing and asking, because you're always adding.
Yeah. And that's a very helpful thing as well, or at least speaking for me personally, is when we get, feedback, suggestions on things, not always, but a lot of times we try to implement that. So whether that be programming's collection, what have you, I like to say it gets deposited in the idea bank to be withdrawn at a time when we can make use of it. So, that feedback's always welcome.
Other comments? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Katie. And thank you for doing the e-news for us too. So we love you being a master gardener as well.
Yeah, I enjoy doing it. Otherwise I wouldn't be here. So but
okay.
Okay, let me unshare if there's no other final questions. Oh, and and thank you for all the thanks. I'm glad everyone got anything out of it. And again, I'll add to, please reach out if you have any questions or need clarifications on anything. I said today, because you know, you can only cover so much in approximately a half hour. And I do also know, Holly mentioned Hoquiam Library does a used book sale every Tuesday and Saturday. Good place to trade books. Yes, they actually are here Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So Tuesday it's from 11 to 2:30. Yes. And then Thursdays from 3 to 5:30. So, and check out your local branches. If they don't have a used book sale proper, they might have a used book sale shelf, and that's another great way to put money back into your community library as well. And you get some, you know, good deals on books too.
And thank you so very much. And the fact that you're an ongoing research resource as well as a colleague here with our Master Gardeners is it's a huge asset to the program. Hey, I want to thank everybody for joining us here today. Reminder that we'll have a board meeting begin at 1 o'clock, 90 minutes from now, right, on the same URL. Be sure to tune in next month, as they always say, when our speaker will be Tess Schivione. Tess Schivione is going to talk to us about naturalistic design. She is a leading landscape designer at GGN out of Seattle. So I'm quite excited to actually have this world-class landscape designer to come speak to us regarding naturalistic design. So that's for our April program on April 8th, coming up in less than a month, when it will truly be spring. Hey, thanks everybody. Go ahead.
And I mentioned one thing, if you haven't, you could have signed up for this on our Give Pulse calendar, but if you didn't, you can put this as the entire meeting as continuing education.
Oh, okay.
Well, there you have it. Okay. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else for the good of the order? Okay, thanks everyone. We'll see a number of you at our board meeting coming up shortly.
Bye.
Goodbye all.